What an epic year for Lego investing. If you're a Lego investor or collector, we've just come out of such an incredible year for so many different reasons in terms of return on investments and profits that have been available out there in the marketplace, but also challenges that we've faced this year, kind of differences that we've had to adapt to in the business. What are some of the big things that happened this year that we can learn from, apply to our business? What are some of the things that we are excited about for next year? What are some of the challenges that we want to solve next year? Let's talk about it. Now, if you're new here, this is a channel where we talk about Lego investing. We buy Lego sets, we hold them as the values increase, because when they're no longer manufactured, that's exactly what happens. Values go through the roof. So make sure you hit that subscribe button if you're new to the channel. And with that, let's jump in and start talking a little bit about 2022. What a crazy year, which started off with massive jumps in price on certain sets, TV shows that massively impacted Lego sets. We had sets that, stayed in stock on Amazon that we thought would retire, and we had to deal with having some inventory of stuff that maybe didn't work out the way we thought it would. We have all of these different things going on in the first couple months of the year. And then in the last couple of months of the year, we have, talk of recession and how is that going to impact Q4, the holiday season. But, honestly, sales have been absolutely incredible for me and for a lot of Lego investors out there. We have, busy selling season, incredible deals and opportunities out there. We had Lego Group raising prices that led to Lego investors leaving the market. We had various different clearance seasons and amazing opportunities out there. Awesome sets retiring and amazing catalog of sets to invest in that are likely to do really well. It's been a crazy year. What are some of my personal takeaways, some of my personal thoughts on some of my investments over the last year? I want to talk a little bit about that, and I'm going to do a little bit of an award style here, where I essentially share what is my best investment, what was my worst investment. I'm going to go through a couple of these categories and share some thoughts on 2022. Now, I'm going to be looking at 2021 retired sets because they're about a year old now. So the sets that I retired in at the end of 2021, those were the investments that I held through 2022 and then eventually sold at the end of 2022 or at some point during 2022. So I'm going to talk about some of those sets. So they are 2021 retirees. I'm talking about them now and a reflection on 2022 because the whole time was throughout 2022. And then we're going to talk a little bit about my thoughts on 23. What are some of the things I'm excited about? What are some of the things that I want to change in my business going forward into next year? So super excited to be closing out 2022. And let's jump in and talk a little bit about some of the things that I saw in my business over the last year. We're going to start off strong here. We're going to jump straight into the best investment from the 2021 sets that I bought. So what is the set that I bought a year ago and I was holding throughout 2022 and then I sold it and it was my best investment of the year? This one is not going to be a surprise to anyone out there who is part of this industry. It is going to be the best investment for probably every single person who invested in this set, because I don't think there's any set that outperformed it. This one is, of course, the TIE Fighter pilot helmet. The Star Wars series of helmets has become super popular, and this was one of the first two that retired. So this one and the Stormtrooper helmet both retired at the end of 2021, but this one was, a lot lower in inventory that was available. It was much more restricted and harder to find. And then when the new set started coming out, all the collectability factor kicked in. Everybody got really excited about buying all the old sets because they wanted to finish their collection, and they couldn't find this one on the shelves in most retail stores. It was only sold in Target and the Lego store in the US, and as a result, this set really shot up in value very quickly. It caught a lot of people off guard. I felt like it was going to be a massive winner, and I talked about it in multiple videos in 2021, but honestly it still caught me off guard just how much of a winner it ended up being. I thought maybe price target of 150 after a year. It ended up being at 225 after a year. So the price on this one went insane. And, for me, it was something like a 200% return on investment on this set. So definitely the top performer of the year. So this one, not only was it an incredible investment, return on investment, but it was also a very short hold time. And that is that's the double whammy that we want to look for here on these Lego investments. So if you can hold it for a short period of time and then make an epic return on investment at the same time, that's a winner right there. So this was the Lego investment of the year for this year for me. So super, super happy with the TIE Fighter pilot helmet and how it performed this year. This was the number one Lego investment of the year for 2022 for me, TIE Fighter pilot helmet. Now, next category, of course, will need to be, what is the worst investment from the 2021 retirees? What was my worst sale of 2022? What set was I holding this year and then sold it, and it was the worst? This one, unfortunately, it stuck around on the shelves way longer than anybody ever thought. It just became a meme in the Lego investing communities. Every single person out there who bought this set regrets buying it. It is, it's one that had a lot of potential. I think the fundamentals were there. I still think I was right about some of the things that I liked about the set, but it ended up just being overproduced through the roof. And so everything else just goes out the window. If a set gets overproduced too much, it doesn't matter if it's got awesome other fundamentals and the minifigs are exclusive and all of these different things. It just doesn't matter as much because there's just too many of them out there. They start to get heavily discounted because the retailers can't move them. This set has been heavily discounted pretty much for the last entire year or year and a half because there's just been too many of them manufactured. And if you haven't guessed it already, it is, of course, the ATST Raider. This is set number 75254. Everybody's worst investment. This, again, is a meme in the communities now. It's just becoming the laughing joke of Lego investing. And I am ashamed to say that, yes, I did buy some of these. I think I bought around 50 quantity of these. Might be a little more than 50. And I've liquidated some of them, but I still actually have some of them. But I am going to probably just get rid of everything. If I can break even on these sets, that's awesome. The great thing about Lego investing is that even the worst investment of your year, you'll probably break even if you liquidate the stock. If you learn how to buy stuff at a really great price, then it's very likely you'll be able to move the inventory at a slightly higher price, and then after you pay your fees or your shipping or whatever it is, you'll probably break even or come close to breaking even. Even if you lose a couple dollars on one or two really bad investments, it won't end up being a significant loss a lot of the time. And obviously it's more than covered by the massive investment profits that you would gain on some of your winning sets. So when compared with other business models, for example, if you sold other item categories on Amazon or eBay, you could take a lot bigger losses when you buy bad stuff. But this one, unfortunately, is still available on the shelves, and it's still available at massive discounts. And for that reason, I probably will have to lose a little bit of money, but it won't be much. So that is the ATST Raider, and it is one that everybody regrets. It would be really, really funny, though, if as soon as this one actually fully disappears off the shelves forever, it actually performs really well. I just don't expect it to happen because in terms of the number of people who are sitting on a large quantity of these, it's a lot. So there's a lot of supply out there. And, there's also another ATST been released ever since that. So there's a good chance that some of the demand has also shifted. So it's interesting. But this set also still sells very, very fast. So there is still demand. It is a Mandalorian set. We do have the Cara Dune thing, and the minifigures have a lot going for them. So it's interesting. But that is it for the worst investment, that I bought in 2021, but I held in 2022, and I'm now liquidating. That is it for the ATST Raider from Lego Star Wars. Now, what is the biggest miss from 2021 retires? What are the sets that I should have bought? What are the sets that right now some of my peers and some of my friends in the Lego investing community are selling that I wish that I was also selling? What was my biggest miss? What set do I wish I got in on that I didn't buy? So this is a set that I talked about in a video in 2021 at one point, but I decided completely against buying it. I intentionally made the decision not to invest in it. I did think about it for a while. I did look into it a little bit. Looking back on it, I don't think I analyzed the data enough. I don't think I really reflected on it enough, and I dismissed it for one major reason. The reason was price point. I kind of excluded this set because of the price point. Because my strategy used to be, I used to look at sets kind of under a certain price bracket. And the reason that I did that is just because of my workflows and my processes work better for, kind of low to medium price sets. And I didn't really want to go above the $200 price range-ish when it comes to my Lego investments. Now, so for that reason, I missed out on this next set. But if it was today, I would buy it because I have made some changes in my business, and I do kind of see that it was a little bit of a miss for me to exclude some of the large sets of the past. And so this is one that I missed out on. I'm very, very happy for any of you out there who invested in this Lego set. This is, of course, the Disney Train and Station. So this is 71044. Epic set. I think the price point on this was $330 MSRP. So it retired last year, and this year the price action has been incredible. It has shot up massively. If you got a slight discount on it, you're probably at around 90% return on investment on Amazon right now, or something like that. 90%, I mean, you can beat 90% with other sets. You could probably get 100% in the same time period on a handful of other sets, but you'd have to get multiple units of that set in order to get the same dollar value as what you could buy with just a single unit of a high price set like this one. So to have a high price set hit those same or similar return on investment multiples in the same time period, like in the 1 year time period, as a smaller set does, like a Brickheads or a Speed Champions set, that's impressive for some of these larger sets to be able to do those numbers, and that appeals to me quite a lot, but I missed out on this one. Now, the last category, I think this might be the last category of sets, and specifically talking about Lego sets, before we talk a little bit about some of the kind of reflections on, my business in general. But the last one, I think, is the Unsung Hero. So what is a set that, what I mean by Unsung Hero is, this is a set that performed very, very well, that caught me off guard, right? This is a set that I invested in, but I didn't buy a massive quantity of them. And I thought that it had potential, but I think it really surpassed my expectations. So maybe a better name for this category would have been set that surpassed my expectations. This is a set that I invested in, and it was kind of the most surprising to me in terms of how well that it did, and it went way above my expectations. This is the Herbology set. This is Lego Harry Potter Herbology. The Hogwarts Moments series are all retiring right now in December 2022, but this one retired a year sooner. It was the only one that retired a year ago in 2021, and the performance was incredible on this set, because as soon as the new one started to drop, this set went through the roof in terms of price. Now, it's not that the return on investment is so strong. That's not the reason I have this as the kind of most surprising, the one that caught me off guard the most. It's because of the speed of it. It's not the number one return on investment of the year or anything like that, but it's how fast this one got to incredible valuations. Within 6 months of retirement, this set was selling at $60 on Amazon US. It's a $30 MSRP, but you could have got them for $24 at least, maybe even $20 at different points when it was around. And for it to be selling at 60 within 6 months, that's a strong performing investment, very, very strong performing investment. And although I thought that it had potential, I did not expect it to get to those numbers so quickly. So the Herbology set, absolutely incredible investment for this year. It did, the price did kind of taper down a little bit after it hit that peak. So you would have been better off selling it months ago, because it got to those numbers so fast, but since then it kind of leveled off. So at the end of 1 year, it's not, as powerful of a performer to think about the 1 year performance, but to think about the 6 month performance, it's very, very powerful. So, if you got out at that point, it would have been an incredible investment. Next up, we're going to talk a little bit about some of my business reflections. What are some things that, looking back on 2022, that I want to think about, want to learn from, I want to maybe make a change or two. So the biggest challenge of the year is the first one I want to talk about here. What is something in my business this year that was, more challenging than I expected? What was the biggest challenge that I had to deal with? It's one that a lot of Lego investors have had to deal with this year. It is a unique challenge, I think, and I don't think it's going to, necessarily be a challenge every year forever. But this challenge is one that I didn't really see coming when I first, started selling on Amazon. And what I'm talking about here is what we call in the community Amazon zombie stock. Okay, Amazon zombie stock. And what zombie stock we refer to as zombie stock is basically when Amazon stay in stock on a retired Lego set for a long period of time. So a set retires and Lego.com have sold out, and Walmart have sold out, and Target have sold out, and everywhere has sold out, but for some reason Amazon still has it in stock for another couple months, because they have back stock of it. They have inventory in their warehouses, and they're still selling through that inventory. What happens when we see Amazon stay in stock on a set like that is that the marketplace, the third-party marketplace, does not start to move up, which obviously is what we are waiting for as Lego investors. We're waiting for it to sell out, because that's the point when the third-party sellers start to sell, and then the price goes up. But with Amazon staying in stock, with this Amazon zombie stock stuff on some sets, it takes longer for that to happen. It takes, it basically puts a delay on it. And essentially what that's doing is it's pushing out the retirement of the set. Really that's what's happening, and that's the impact that it has on the third-party marketplace, is that the retirement essentially gets pushed out because Amazon are still in stock. So many people are still they're just going to Amazon and getting it at MSRP even a couple of months after retirement. So in 2022, we saw this with some Lego architecture sets, for example, like San Francisco and Dubai, both of which retired at the end of 2021, and were sets that I invested heavily in at the time. And those sets remained in stock on Amazon for something like another 6 months before they sold out, or even a little longer on one or two of those sets. That obviously causes a delay, which I didn't account for when I invested in the sets. And it has happened on some other sets as well. One of the big examples a lot of people remember is the Lego Technic Corvette, that $50 orange Corvette that retired something like a year and a half ago, and it just recently finally sold out on Amazon. That's an example of them having way more stock than they probably ever needed. Now, I'm not going to go any deeper into the zombie stock stuff, really, because it is something that, I could do an entire video on. We talk about it a lot inside of my community, and we kind of, we brainstorm around working around it and different things. There's a lot of reasons for it, and a lot of kind of causes for it, but I feel like a lot of them were temporary. A lot of them were kind of, fallout from COVID and from, shipping shortages and supply changes and liquidation that happened, and maybe Amazon bought overstock from other people and different things like that. There's a lot of different things that I think happened in the last couple of years that could have led to overstock or oversupply. And it's not in Amazon's best interest to hold stock for a year and a half like that. So if they're not buying it from the manufacturer frequently, they don't want to store stuff for a year and a half. So that is not in Amazon's business model. So it felt a little abnormal. If you're in e-commerce, you're in the business of moving product and turnover, moving stuff quickly. You don't want to store inventory on the shelf for a year and a half before you sell through it all. And Amazon is, the number one at getting stuff out quickly. So I don't feel like some of that stuff was really their plan. But that is where we landed with some of this zombie stock stuff, and I do think that eventually over time we're going to see less of this happening. So it was a challenge this year, but thankfully it's only on a handful of my investments, and most of my investments were growing in value as expected and doing fantastically well in terms of profits and return on investments. And the ones that did kind of take a little longer to kick in because of Amazon's zombie stock, eventually they did start to kick in, and we see some really strong early performance on San Francisco and Dubai and some other sets that Amazon had held stock for quite some time. So that was a challenge this year, that we had to deal with, that a lot of us out there had to deal with. So that is one that I definitely wanted to mention. Now, what was the best change of this year? What is the best change that I implemented in my business this year? What's something I did differently this year that I think worked out well, that I'm happy that I did? This one for me is that I stopped paying too much attention to clearance. And in the US, Walmart has clearance seasons that are massive, right? We have July and December, huge clearance. And in past years, I would have kind of focused on those quite heavily, and I would have taken road trips and hit multiple Walmarts and filled up my SUV a handful of times with Lego sets at, really strong prices, incredibly strong prices. But the sets wouldn't necessarily be sets on my radar for great investments. A lot of the sets wouldn't be. Some of them would be, but a lot of them wouldn't be. And I would walk out with entire carts. I had a video where I did it. Entire cart of Lego at a really good price. But again, some of the sets, they just wouldn't be the sets that I really wanted to invest in. I realized that, yes, I made money on all of those sets that I bought because I was getting them at such good prices that even the bad stuff that you buy, you will make money on. But, it didn't really surpass the same return on investments that I could make on picking really good sets and buying them online with using my discount strategies and different things, the things that I do to get great prices. So I started to realize that, even if I can get a 30% off an excellent set, it actually works out better than getting the 60% off a bad set in the Walmart clearance. And with the Walmart clearance, I was spending all the time to go out and physically actually go store to store. Now, I'm not knocking this strategy. This clearance strategy works very, very well for a lot of people. I have some friends that do extremely well with it, but you got to build some systems around it. And I've got some friends who, they go out to clearance with a team of buyers and a van, and they fill it and they go, state to state and different things like that. And that can work extremely well when you build systems around it. But for me, it's just not the business model that I really wanted to focus too heavily on. And I feel like it was distracting me from what I was really good at, which is picking winning sets. So this year I focused specifically on just my hit list of sets. I avoided clearance. I narrowed very, very closely in on the sets that I felt were the biggest winners, and those were the ones that I bought. And I bought them at, I didn't get the 60% off, 70% off crazy clearance that sometimes is available in some of those physical store locations when you go to clearance season. But, I feel very, very strong about the inventory that I bought. Now, we'll see next year when I look back, were the numbers from the sets that I bought this year as good as my numbers from last year? I'll start to look at those things. But I feel like, not doing clearance, not focusing too heavily on clearance was a positive change in my business. And that is one that I'm happy that I decided to do. It gave me a lot more clarity as well, and a lot more focus and discipline on sticking to my game plan and the things that I had developed, and not getting too distracted by the fun clearance season. And with that, let's jump into the final piece of looking back at 2022. And this, of course, is the lesson of the year. What is something that I learned in 2022 that I plan to apply to my business, that I've started to apply, and that 2023 will be entirely based on? What's something that I learned? Now, this is something that it may not sound like a massive deal, but to me it actually changes quite a lot. And this is in the area of price points again. And there's a lot about price points, low price sets versus high price sets, that we've always been aware of, that I've talked about a lot in the past, such as the difference in return on investment, the difference in the workload involved with sourcing and shipping more quantity of low price sets versus just a handful of high price sets. These are more obvious things that we know about. But there's also some elements of the differences between high price sets and low price sets that I'm still identifying and learning. The marketplace between high price sets and low price sets is actually completely different. The sales rank is completely different between them. And that piece, I've known for a long time. Obviously, when we have lower price stuff, they sell faster than higher price stuff. That is just the way economics works. But the fact that the marketplace is so different, it actually leads to a different strategy in terms of hold time and how long you want to hold a set for. When should you sell a set? When is the best time to sell a set? And this year I started to realize that the answers to these questions is actually different depending on whether you are selling a low price set or a high price set. The best time to sell a low price set is different. The time you should hold a low price set is different. High price sets can grow in value fast in the beginning, but then slow down. And low price sets can grow slowly in the beginning and then speed up. And this is something that I've started to realize. So I've done a lot of analytics recently, looking at high price sets versus low price sets and figuring some of these things out. Now, again, this is it could be an entire dedicated video to it. So we're not going to go deep on it here. I'm just briefly kind of mentioning that this is a big lesson for me. And the action that I'm going to take on it really is I'm going to start to identify different hold periods, whether it's a high price set or a low price set. I don't only invest in high price or low price. I actually like both price ranges for different reasons. So I invest in both price ranges. But I am going to implement a much more rigorous kind of structured strategy for each of them, and treat them differently when it comes to my hold time and when I'm going to move inventory back to the market. That is my lesson of the year this year. I know it sounds small, but to me it is big because it will lead to a strategy change, and any lesson that leads to you changing the way you do things and you operate your business is a big one. So that is my lesson of the year this year. And with that is 2022. Now, I want to close us out a little bit here by talking about 2023 because it is super, super exciting to look ahead at 2023. What are some of the things that I'm excited about for next year? The biggest one, obviously, is the retiring sets. I love coming into a new year and starting to refresh my mind onto a whole new batch of Lego sets. Because for the last couple of months, I've been thinking about this certain set of Lego sets that are on my hit list. It's all about these retiring sets, these discounted sets, what's going on in the market, what sets got a price raise, what sets didn't, all of these different things. You're looking at a handful of sets, and then you kind of go into the new year and it's a reset. It's a really nice reset to start looking at a whole batch of new, fresh meat for us to start investing in. So I'm really excited about that for 2023. Another thing I'm really excited about is to continue to engage with my community. So my inner circle community is called BrickBucks Ignite, and it has been absolutely incredible this year, seeing the success of some of the people in the community and what the community are doing and achieving and engaging, and there's friends being made and there's networks being built, and it's just been amazing to be part of. So I'm super excited to continue to serve my BrickBucks Ignite community. And the other thing that I'm really excited about next year is to continue to grow my business. So, I'm really looking forward to reinvesting a lot of these sales and profits that are going on right now, because we are in selling season right now, and it's a lot, and reinvesting that into excellent inventory so that, the inventory value continues to grow, my business continues to grow. And of course, I'm super excited to continue to bring you awesome new videos here on YouTube for Lego investing. So tons of epic stuff coming up in 2023, really, really exciting. And it's, in my opinion, there has never been a better time to be a Lego investor. And I'm looking forward to seeing what 2023 will bring for me and what it will bring for you in the community. So once again, I just want to wish you a happy new year. Thank you so much for all of your support this year in 2022. Thank you for every video that you've watched. Thank you for every like that you clicked. Thank you for every comment that you left, either on my videos or inside of the free Facebook community. Just thank you all. It has been an awesome ride, and I'm super excited to continue to do it with you in the next year. And if you don't want to miss any of that action, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and also go join that free Facebook group to engage in the discussions into 2023. Thank you so much for watching. Once again, happy new year. And with that, I will see you in the next one.